You're watching the Matt to Matt Show, where we talk about...
Quiet, please.
Excuse me.
Exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Where we talk about everything that's important to you. From science and technology to pop culture and social commentary. Featuring your hosts Right Matt, Left Matt, and the disembodied voice of Joe. This is where the conversation begins. Now let's have a chat. Matt to Matt. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Matt to Matt Show. I am your host, Right Matt.
Hi, I'm Left Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, we have with us, not in studio, but in a satellite position in the middle of the woods.
He looks angry.
The disembodied, he looks something, the disembodied, re-embodied voice of Joe. How you doing?
Good evening.
As
I
usual,
think my avatar is frozen.
Your avatar is frozen, but boy, it's frozen in a good spot. So
Good boy.
Yes, the voice of Joe has fleeted.
He has fleas?
Yeah.
That's rough.
Has fled to another time zone, so he's gracious enough to come hang out with us tonight, as always. So, as per usual, we have the chat up on the screen, so feel free to talk. You will always be part of the show. Try to say nice things. I don't want to have to boot you. In fact, I don't even know how. I don't think I could if I wanted to. So we have some fun things tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the Consumer Electronics Show that happening. Technically, it's still happening this week. What's fun about the Consumer Electronics Show is that it is just that. It's consumer electronics. So it is things that will be for sale or concepts of things that may be for sale soon. But most of it is kind of out there. And hopefully will come to pass because some of it's pretty interesting. So I've picked some selections of fun things that they've announced this year. A lot of robots this year. Electric cars too, self-driving electric cars. So we've got that. Matt's gonna talk about some interesting stuff about, you guessed it, money. Not just any money, your money, and how China is messing with it. So
Wait, is
or
this
not
money or currency?
No, money.
There is a difference. Money has store value. Just currency. Just useless paper, confetti, essentially.
Yeah, so that. And, of course, Joe will be there adding wonderful commentary and that face, apparently, the whole time. So let's hope we get
Much
used to
wonderful, very face.
it. Yes. So, interesting news week. I've noticed we haven't brought up, at least I don't remember. We could have last show, and I completely forgot, like the politics lately. There wasn't a lot going on over Christmas, but there's kind of like weird stuff happening again. But I haven't gotten back into the paying attention since things have been happening, like the whole Trump DACA thing.
Mm-hmm. Deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Yeah, that thing. So there's interesting stuff going on. Next week we'll probably talk more about that kind of thing. We do have on February 1st our 1-year anniversary. It's coming up. So that'll be fun. We missed a couple weeks, so it's not like we have 52 episodes on our 1 year. But that's okay. We're at 39 tonight, and we'll hit 40 next week, and I think we'll be at like 43 at that point. So that'll be fun. You keep slouching farther and farther down because I keep adjusting your camera, and you're like, yeah. So yeah, that's going to be the show tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining in the chat. I see our regulars in there. Amor Pizza, yes, their Dogecoin investment is paying off. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Don't joke about Dogecoin or invest in it. Whether you're serious or not, you're making a mistake. Goodness. There we go. Stop shaking the camera. Beggar hero Constantine, no comment. Constantine's commentary has no comment. Then what's the point?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense.
Constantine's no commentary. All right.
Joe's still frozen.
Joe is still frozen.
All right, we're just leaving him.
I can't do
He
anything
looks
about it.
like that.
I'm not in control.
Working on it.
I'm not in control of the disembodied body thing. So, all right. So, by the way, we are taking suggestions. We have a couple of ideas of what we're going to do, which is why I brought that up on February 1st. Some fun, different kinds of things.
Bottle rocket.
Bottle rocket. My wife.
Diet Coke and Mentos. Regular Coke and Mentos.
The giant swimming pool adds a little
Drone, throw it.
I don't know if some of you were here for that episode. That was that was like our 4th or 5th episode with Joe. Stupid guys poured an entire swimming pool full of...
Not Joe. We all watched. Joe, Matt, and I watched some stupid guy.
Yeah. We didn't do it.
When we did it with Joe.
Some
that
dumb
stupid
guy.
filled
No.
the pool with- No, okay.
Yeah, he filled a pool with Coke and then threw a whole bucket of Mentos in, and nothing happened because he didn't use Diet Coke. But they played it off like, yeah, look at that, and it was doing nothing. And they're like, perfect, what we were expecting. So
Tex
bad.
racks. Tech
So bad.
racks? That's what it's called? Tex rack.
I have no
Something
idea.
like that. H3 did
It
something.
had like 40 million plays on it. It was the most disappointing
know,
video ever.
yeah.
And so at the end, they were just like, and is the pied de resistance, we're going to fly this $1,200 drone into the pool.
1,200
Which was
bucks.
stupid because the second it hit the water, the video cut. The water. The second it hit the soda, the video cut. So it was just like, and it disappeared.
The best part though was when they threw the bags of Mentos and they're like, "Oh, look at that! We got a little fizzle."
And he like starts stirring it with his hand, and he's like, "Yeah, look at all the like the chemical
It was
reaction that's
absolutely
not
nothing.
happening."
There was you gotta have Diet Coke.
I know. It was funny because I paused the video and I'm like, "Does anybody know what's going to happen?" And Joe's like, "Isn't it Diet Coke?" And I'm like, "Yep, he caught that, called it." So actually, my wife recommended we do. You know how we did the Bob Ross episode? If you guys didn't see our Bob Ross episode, go back and watch that. It was a bit of a train wreck,
Yeah,
but in a really fun way. She said we should do the same thing with the overhead cams and do like a cake decorating competition. Just get a bunch of sheet cakes and ice them and decorate them. So
That's a great idea.
There's one from the Bob Ross.
Where's the other one? Whose is that? Is that Joe's?
It's probably Joe's. Yeah, it's good.
I think it's Joe's. It's good, so it's probably
No, it's
Joe's.
yours. This is yours.
Is it mine?
Yeah, this is Matt's.
Yeah, that's fine. So we did a Bob Ross video. It was fun, if nothing else.
I did my background, which you see me in front of right now. I painted this behind me.
Yes. Sorry, I was looking at Beggar Hero in the chat. I have. I'm trying to catch up. All I saw was as much as he controls making gays unhappy. Gay is happy. It's the definition of the word. So, oxymoron.
That's true.
A sad gay.
Off to a good start.
Off to a great start. Let's talk about sad gays. Dogecoin is at I missed it. Dogecoin is at really? It's that low? I mean, I've probably jumped up.
What do you mean? It's up. Let's see.
Which is funny because it's like a Dogecoin is so little, but if it like tripled from a very, very little to just a little.
Yeah, from
If you had-
January 1st, it was at 0.008777. Let's see this.
Oh, so it's gone up a bit. What was that like 25%?
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to measure it.
I'm great with numbers and math. So. Oh,
27?
I'm assuming you're talking to me, but yeah, in the text it gets a little lost. But I'm assuming, I was assuming you were joking. So, are you doing math on that right now?
Yeah, I'm doing the Dogecoin
All right,
to
you-
see since
you let
January
me know.
1st.
All right. So, kicking off the CES coverage is on The Verge. They're talking about this fun robot. Like I said, there's a lot of interesting robots and automated things and AI. Some of them super disappointing.
I don't believe it.
This one. Much better. All right. The UbTech, or
It's up
UbTech.
30%.
Is it-
Dogecoin is up 31% since January.
I was close. I said 25.
Yeah, that's close.
So if you'd invested like $10,000, you'd have like 13.
Yeah, about 13,000.
Wow.
Not bad at all. Sorry, what are we looking at? Oobtech.
Oobtech Walker is a biped butler robot with no arms, but a lot of charm. Clever. So this thing, it's like we've seen these for years. Robots that like, look, it can walk on 2 legs. This sucker is only 80 pounds, which is not bad.
That's like the Halloween jackpot.
It
looks freaky.
It is kind of freaky because it has no arms. It's like a walker. Here, let's play this real quick. Look at that.
Definitely has a really smooth move to it. It's really gentle. And
This guy sounds really gentle.
Oh, it's creepy. Look at it go.
It looks like something from Portal.
It looks like it's trying to sneak up on you.
It does, yeah. Is this the charm that was mentioned?
No, he's got this big goofy grin on his face as he does it.
Beggar Heroes comment.
Step? No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. I think they should all be spider robots. They should all just have 4 or more legs. I know spiders don't have 4. I'm just saying they should have.
No, I say handicap them. Only 1 leg. They have to bounce around.
One leg.
stick, yeah.
Come back here, master. That way in midair you can just push them. They fall over. Can you, unless they're like BB-8 style, where like you push it and the leg just reorients to be under it, like slides around. That would be creepy as it tips over.
Not a whole lot of gyroscopes in nature. Yeah, you'd like push something thinking it would fall
Cats
over.
have gyroscopes, right? That's how they always land on their back.
So does butter. That's how it always stabilizes
On their
with the
backs.
butter facing down.
Yeah, cat butter.
Toast. I mean, that's toast. Buttered toast.
Yeah, you butter the back of a cat and you drop it sideways, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Perpetual motion
which
machine.
law? Yeah, it's like just spins. Let's see. So, what's really weird about it is it will actually like patrol the corners of your property. Corners. It'll like wander around your house as like standing guard, and it will like notice things that are happening and like videotape them. So it's like a surveillance bot.
They could just put a Google Home on there, or like what do they call this one? Alexa.
You can't say that on a stream.
legs.
Anybody who
Legs,
has one that just went off in their home.
Alexa, buy me 300 pounds of fertilizer. Confirm purchase.
Why?
Hi, Bixby. Open YouTube and subscribe.
Yeah, there you go. I'm subscribed to YouTube. I'd like all your videos, please.
No, actually, I use Bixby on a regular basis. When you open YouTube, it brings up to whatever you were just on, and you can hit Open YouTube and play. It'll turn on your phone, open YouTube, and play whatever you were
Does
last
it open
watching.
what you were just on about? What's he on about? But it's listening to your conversation.
Actually, what's interesting, well, we're talking about AI. What's interesting is you can say Open YouTube and play Steven Crowder, and it will search Steven Crowder and play the first result.
What's the...
Isn't that interesting? Like, it won't be like, what do you mean play Steven Crowder? It'll be like, oh, okay, Steven Crowder, play. So you could be like...
Even if it's not his official channel and somebody just like grabbed a clip,
the,
so the
the
most
top result.
Okay, it's
Whatever
typically
top.
from
It's
that
typically
channel.
the most recent from that channel. Especially, you can be like, play Steven Crowder, gender is not real, change my mind. And it'll find that, play it.
What's the purpose of this robot? Just to be a butler? To carry around food?
I don't know. I'm such an idiot. My phone's going off trying to do commands right now. I forgot it was next to me. That's not smart. Moving on. All right. Yeah, a little indulgent here. VR. They figured out how to do wireless multiplayer VR. She is writing, as you can see. They're both seeing that like blueprint or whatever of a restaurant. That she's drawing, and he can see it too. So they're like in the same space, which VR's kind of had issues with. But when you have multiple cables, that's a problem. But wireless has been a big thing this year for virtual reality, which is one of the biggest complaints. A lot of people don't want to be tethered. So they've got standalone headsets that don't require a computer and wireless options for your computer, which is kind of a big deal.
Wow.
Very wow. Much wow. Yes. Ain't more pizza. Well, at least kids all around the world will be able to play Keep Away from the Robot. Lots of people are going to be having random videos from their robot of the neighborhood cat. Can you imagine like sending your kid on a walk with that robot? It's like if anybody comes within 3 feet of my child, kick them.
Vaporize them.
Just kick them or yell at them or videotape them as they take the child. Like I don't know. At the best, whatever they can do.
Just on monitor only.
Exactly. It's like
Just watch
it just
him.
sits there and watches it fly away, and then it slowly wanders home, and it's like, hey, thought you should know. Somebody took Timmy. All right. Ha 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 ha. Lots of people are going to have random videos of the robot, a neighborhood cat. Your neighborhood collectively has a cat. Yeah, the neighborhood cat. You didn't know that?
Is that a real thing? That's not a
Yeah.
real thing. Like a stray that 10 people would take care of.
Or
at taking
somebody's
turns.
cat that wanders around a lot and gets into people's garbage and sits on top of a fence all smeared in trash and is like,
Wait, are you referring to something?
Raccoons. Are you
that,
talking about raccoons?
not my new neighbors next door who moved in a couple months ago who have a cat that keeps
I've seen a
getting
cat
into
of
my
that
garbage.
description recently.
It like climbs up on the garbage and then starts licking its paw. And I'm like, why? It just sits on top of the pile of garbage and then just like licks its paw.
You'd know
Freaking
how
stupid
great that
cat.
was if you had paws, but maybe you should pause.
Really?
and
Maybe
consider
I don't know. That cat gives me pause.
that.
Best I got. Sorry. All right. The curious case of the $1,000 AR glasses. Big thing at CES this year. I was going to say alternative reality.
That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
What, AR glasses?
Yeah, something that doesn't like
AR-15.
block like my complete vision of the world.
Exactly. The selling point, AR is going to be far more widespread than VR, and I can tell you why. I can prove it. If you've ever used a Snapchat filter, that's augmented reality. That is technically what AR is. The new iPhones have that 3D filters, so to like put like a mask on your face that follows your face really well, a lot better than the Snapchat ones do. But that's what augmented reality is. So Pokemon Go, augmented reality, super popular. Like it was the biggest phenomenon when it first. It was super popular. It was the biggest phenomenon when it first came out, and like people are like, you interested in AR? And they're like, oh, I don't know, it sounds weird. A lot of people have used it and they don't even realize it. So they have been coming out with glasses, but of course, most of them are around $1,000-ish price, which is a lot. But they're getting smaller, they're getting better, wider field of view, better computing in a smaller container. So sometime this year, there's going to be... last year was like VR's year to be where it is. You know, it's not like it's going to break out this year and suddenly become super popular. It kind of got to the level it was going to get last year, and it's going to creep up slowly from there and grow. This year, it's going to be AR. A lot of people are going to... What's up?
Nothing. Amor just brought up basically what you said about AR, augmented reality, about finding directions. And so she envisioned it kind of in a way that I hadn't considered. You said maybe, you know, like you go to New York City and you're like, hey, take me to this building. And then you see like a little flashing line on the sidewalk or floating in the air or something. She says, what if you just drop a pin on Google Maps and then you could see it like, oh. Or did you say that?
I said
too?
that exact thing.
Oh, man. I thought you just said
you
the-
could
the-
see geocaches from like miles away, just like
sounds
shooting a beacon
fun.
in the air.
Yeah.
And so you're like, follow that beacon. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, like that putting like your Facebook status above your head. That's like, I'm sad, don't talk to me. You know, like,
Yeah.
which really means I'm sad, talk to me.
Did you see John? He had a sad emoji. You know? Do you think he's
You
doing
like put an
okay?
emoji like right in front of your face as you walk around.
Yeah.
Creepy, but
Oh,
possible.
That is so sad that I do not want that kind of future.
Let's
Like-
shoot cat videos at him.
Blank expression on your face. You just have to have emojis above for people to
Well,
tell you.
Well, what's
tell what
interesting
you're-
is that anybody
you're
who
feeling.
doesn't have an AR headset isn't going to see it. They're just going to see you.
Unfortunately. They're stuck with reality.
Yeah. So that's kind of that's
Holy
a big thing.
Batman. Who's this?
Who's who?
Batman. Welcome aboard the Matt to Matt train. 1088. What? You know this guy?
Yeah.
10884? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's definitely a guy.
Oh, cool.
I know who it is. What's up?
How-
Nice to see you.
Never mind. If you do know him personally, never mind. I was gonna make a joke specific to Batman and his origin story, but I don't know this guy's origin story. So
Yep. Been using one of Sarah's accounts. So Yeah, dating apps will get so much weirder with augmented reality. I think what'll be interesting is with a 3D camera, being able to set a stereo 3D camera, which is it has two cameras, so it looks like, you know, two eyes. You can set it like on a table, and it'll see you, and then the other person with the AR glasses can be sitting at a table and see you on sitting in the other chair. So you're at completely different tables and completely different rooms, but you can see your room, you can see your meal, you can see your food, and you can see the other person sitting at the table with you.
But can it see the delicious taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Yeah, you each have your own Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You just can't do that cute little, like, let me feed you with my fork. You got to try the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Weird. Why would you think people... I'm thinking like a date. Do you ever have Cinnamon Toast Crunch on a date? Let's go to Applebee's and order some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What is?
That can you see why kids love cinnamon? The delicious crunch of cinnamon.
Didn't know that. Makes
That's
a
like
lot
their
more sense
advertisement lines, like, you know.
Yeah, it makes a lot.
It's
more
like
sense
the
now.
eternal guardian from Thor, or whatever. The guy who guards that like Rainbow Bridge thing.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
didn't
he
see it.
sees everything, but can he see why kids love cinnamon toast?
Yeah,
crunch?
I didn't see it.
All right,
I didn't see it.
I've seen it. I knew what you're talking about.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch memes incoming.
You know, the audio lag on things like that has gotten really minimal, but the video lag would be just as like it would go together. It would be just like a Skype call, but like a physical Skype call. Yeah, I use their phones during dinner. Let's see. I wonder if they will ever incorporate smells into that sort of VR. They will. There's already Chinese companies that are incorporating eye tracking, which is interesting because it looks at your eyeballs and it can see where your pupils are pointing. So it actually adjusts the resolution in real time on the section of the screen you're looking at to save power for the screen. It's interesting. But they also have like scent parts of it or whatever. Like Disney, there are Disney attractions that are going to be using VR, like really high quality VR headsets, and a lot of it's going to be like full immersion, get the smell and things like that going. So oh yeah, those are the low quality Skype calls. The high quality Skype calls aren't as bad. Like when people are on really like high speed internet or whatever. If you've ever used a Skype call on like 4G on your phone, like the audio and video is way better than when you're at home. It's odd. Very odd. I would have thought it would have been worse. All right, so the 6 Degree of Freedom Blaster, speaking of AR, this one's pretty cool. I remember, Joe, you had a game like this on your 3D, your Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 3D. What's it called?
What?
You had a game where
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
It was augmented reality. It would place things in the room, and you'd have to like shoot them.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
This
that was the 3DS.
Yeah, this does something like that where you hook your phone onto it, and it kind of overlays things in the room, and you shoot at them. It's a toy. I don't know how expensive it is. So it's like geared towards kids. As you can see, it's purple and green. It's supposed to look like a Nerf gun.
And being held by a kid.
And being, well, I mean, they're not going to have like a 9-year-old go to CES and display this thing. But it has 6 degrees of freedom. So you do not just stand in one spot and point it around. It'll place something on like your living room couch. And no matter where you move in the room, you look at it, it's still in that spot, that space. Just creepy weird. It's getting there. So that's fun, how that's just going to leak into toys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want a 4-dimensional one, though.
A what?
I want 8 degrees of freedom. Or would it be 12?
Forward in time, back in time, upward in time. I don't know. This is probably one of my favorite things because I know I've talked about this on the show before. But a dock you can stick your phone into.
That. I saw that. Immediately thought of.
This is
That's what you've been talking about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Phones, specifically this phone. If you don't know, this is the Razer phone. Razer makes gaming peripherals. A couple years ago, they started actually making gaming computers, which are pretty dang good. And this last fall, they came out with a phone. It's a flagship level phone. It's at least as good as a Samsung S9, which hasn't come out yet. Samsung S8 and iPhone 10. It's like up there. It actually has the loudest speakers Everybody I've seen review it says it has the loudest speakers they've ever heard on a cell phone. And it has stereo speakers, one on the top, one on the bottom, so when it's facing you. It has 120 hertz refresh rate screen. It's a powerful phone. It's designed for gaming, so it has a really good screen. It's got really powerful graphic stuff in it. Well, it just slides right into this slot down here, and it becomes the touchpad for the laptop. And the USB-C connector just motorized slides into the phone, and so you've got your touchpad down there, or a second screen if you want, and the phone just runs the laptop. And the laptop has extra peripherals. It has 200 gigabytes of storage, an SD card, so you can add even more. The screen on the laptop also runs at 120 hertz, so it's like a really high quality screen. Of course, it runs Android, not Windows, so there's limitations there. But the idea of having your phone, you do whatever you're doing on your phone all day, you slam it in your laptop, you're doing the same thing, but on your laptop. One device for everything you're doing. Next thing you know, it's like you just get a big monitor dock, and boom, there's your desktop, full-size keyboard and everything. So, I don't know. Let's see. Really sick phone, the gaming
Sounds
phone
convenient.
by design. Absolutely. And I wondered when it first came out, the angular design of like the corners, it's very flat. It's not rounded at all. It's very flat on the edges, flat on the top. It lends itself perfectly. Obviously, they were planning this, but it lends itself perfectly to just dropping in there, and it's seamless. It just slides right in, and it's flat top on the bottom wrist rest on the computer. Let's see, but I want a bigger screen. Why a bigger screen? What? Yes, gaming phone by design. It is pretty awesome. The Stargate, are there any Stargate universe-based VR games? No, Stargate's not quite big enough yet. Like, they have the John Wick game simply because it was like a selling point because the John Wick movie was coming out. But they don't even have like Stargate games, you know? But maybe someday. I don't know. Let's see. Want a bigger screen? It's a product I would love once it's been perfected and has more memory. Do you mean storage? Probably. It has an SD card slot, so I think micro SD. I think it's a micro SD card. So like the phone, I think has 128, and then you can slide an SD card in up to 512. I think these days micro SD. So you can have like 3/4 of a terabyte, which isn't bad. That's quite a bit of storage. So I don't know why I'm assuming you meant storage. You may have meant memory. So I don't know. Phones are getting pretty good these days with that too. I don't know how much that Razer phone has. I bet a lot of people are really gonna want this. You know, it's been a thing before. Ben and I were actually talking about this the day before this was announced, and I was like, "Why isn't that a thing?" There was actually like Zen phone or something in 2013, which was a tablet that was a dock, but the phone sucked and the tablet sucked, and so it didn't really pick up any traction because nobody wanted the phone, and that gimmick was not enough of a gimmick to sell the crappy phone. This is a good phone. This is a phone I was considering getting when I last upgraded, but I got the S8 because I've been using Galaxy S phones since the S3. Since the S3. So I was like, going with something I know. This is something that would convince me to buy this phone. When it's, they haven't given a release date or a price. It's going to be a little different. Some of the specs are going to be a little bit better. Right now, it's just a proof of concept. But yeah, but it's something that would make me consider more getting that phone, which is a pretty good phone. Anyhow, yeah, Asus phone pad. That's what it is. Failed because the phone was terrible. Absolutely.
Anybody who spells their phone with an F deserves to fail with an F.
Yes,
like,
yes, space. So, you know, having actually, sorry, not to cut you off, but having that the laptop dock with extra storage on the laptop would be like, and it's got USB-C ports, so you can have like a large external drive you can plug into it. You know, if you really wanted to like just dump all of your large photos and videos for the day and stuff. So it's you know, maybe it'll have a big built-in solid state storage when it comes out, but yes, very cool, very, very cool. Big fan. You were saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Nothing.
Nothing as important as what you were saying, sir. Sorry. This one's dumb. I don't know why. I don't know why this is a thing, but if you've ever wanted to lose your luggage by it wandering off by itself, this is the Suitcase, the Forward X CX1 suitcase that follows you through the airport. Kind of creepy, hauling your luggage around an airport. What?
It's not suspicious or anything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you know the suitcase? I don't know the suitcase. It's just following me. Like you
Just have it follow random people.
You
Exactly.
pause in line and it like Home Alone's. You remember Home Alone 2 where he sees what he thinks is his dad because he's wearing the same jacket. This thing sees somebody
Yeah.
else wearing your jacket and just starts wandering off with them. And you're like, R2, come on, you know. It's
It would be funnier if it waddled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just roll. Like.
Oh, okay. I would have a hard time not putting like an R2D2 paint job on there, if not like a shell is slid over it and it's like.
I really like how they're demonstrating in like a really open warehouse.
Are
Look
you
how
gonna?
good this is
Yeah,
in
like
crowds of
are you
people.
gonna walk through the airport like that, kind of like hesitantly looking back, calling the thing, "Come here, boy! Come here, boy!" That does not sound good. Doesn't sound as. But like I said, there's a lot of automated sort of smart objects.
But you put it on a leash. Put it on a leash.
You
Could,
yeah.
Just don't go up any stairs. Right? You're
Well, I
boned
mean-
if it does.
no one goes
Or
up.
if-
No one goes upstairs in an airport. Everyone has
Nobody.
luggage. You use escalators or you use elevators. Most people use elevators.
Escalators, I still feel like you would have a tough time. Depending how smart it is, I guess.
No tougher than your own carry-on. I mean, I'm sure
Or
there's
your
a
own
handle.
child.
There's a handle. I'm sure you could just pick it up and be like, "Oh, I have to actually manually move this thing." Let's see. In that case, I would say proceed with caution. SGU. Oh, okay. That kind of suitcase would have been really nice when I was hauling several suitcases, car seat, strollers.
So would it follow you through security? No, it's with me. You know, like,
Yeah, they're like, stop, and it stops. And like, come on through. Yeah. Raise your hands. I said raise your little stick comes out. All right.
a little lightsaber.
Anyhow, yeah, so a lot of automated things like that. This is pretty interesting, too. 65-inch rollable TV. Bendable screens. I remember hearing about those a couple years ago. They're a real thing. This thing rolls up like a poster. You just push a button and it like just coils itself up in that box. It's a TV, dang it. How does it...
Does it have ports? Can I plug HDMI into it?
No, it just displays that one image. Does it
Are you
have...
describing a painting?
It's a screen print on a canvas. LG kicked things off on Sunday. Yeah, they announced this before the conference even started. With a TV from the realm of science fiction. A 65-inch 4K OLED display. What's nice is they've been releasing a lot of things, like I said, with the Razer phone. It's not like, here's a gimmick TV, and it sucks, but hey, it's a gimmick. That's a 4K OLED display. That's like not a shabby display, especially from LG. They make really good TVs. And it rolls up. So it's a TV like you would want to buy anyhow. Plus, there's an added benefit. So I wonder if you could turn it upside down, hang it from the ceiling, and have it drop down like a projector. I'm sure you
Why not
could.
just have a projector? I feel like it'd be cheaper.
Have you ever used a projector? They suck.
I have.
They suck.
At school when they're already all set up and then you just press a button and boop, plug your computer in and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Is it really that annoying? Like you just get it in the right spot once and then if you don't
Oh,
move it,
the
shit-
resolution sucks.
They're
The
terrible.
brightness.
Even the best
well,
ones?
this is a 4K OLED screen. It doesn't say HDR here, but it probably is like most TVs. 4K TVs are HDR. High dynamic range. The blacks are really black. The whites are really white. Everything's segregated.
That's horrible.
terrible.
Jim Crow TVs.
You know what I meant anyway. So here's a fun one. Talking of automated, everybody wants a smart home with a
they're gonna
smart
say everybody
toilet.
poops.
That's
Factually incorrect.
okay. Does your toilet feel excluded from your smart home setup?
No.
No,
I
I don't have
I
a
feel
smart
like I get
home.
it set pretty well.
Kohler's new top-of-the-line model delivers hands-free flushing. bidet cleansing.
Oh, but I hate when like you move a millimeter and then it flushes.
Oh no no
Does
no
that
no!
happen to you?
You say, Alexa, please flush. I'm not even joking. It has
Are you
feet warming, air
serious?
drying, odor control music.
Odor controlling music.
It has like elevator music where it's like playing a samba and you're like waiting. Tick tock.
Is that what plays
tick,
in
tock.
elevators? Sambas mostly.
Yeah, bossa novas, sambas. Yeah.
I learned something today.
A night the typical one, the stereotypical song for no, that's not elevator music. Is Girl from Ipanema. It's like ding 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 ding. You hear it on like movies.
In the elevator.
In the
'Cause it's
elevator,
that-
like they're rushing, they get in the elevator and
Yeah,
they're waiting,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, hear that music? It's usually a bossa nova, like Girl from Ipanema. A nightlight and automatic seat temperature management. Plus, you can ask Alexa
crazy.
to flush. Availability and pricing unknown. Who cares? No one's buying this thing.
Can't wait to see a golden version in Saudi Arabia or something. They probably had those there for years.
Made out of solid gold.
Yeah, exactly. There's solid gold toilets there.
Can you
yeah.
imagine the kind
Or
of restaurant
Yemen.
that would have this?
Not Yemen. Not Yemen. Sorry. Kuwait, probably.
Can you imagine the kind of eating at a restaurant? You go in the bathroom, and there's like one of these in like 15 different stalls. Like casinos, like high-end casinos in like the really nice area would have stuff like this.
Is there a bad area of casinos? Like,
Yeah.
is there a poor person area of casinos?
There's
Of
a rich
slots
person
machines?
area of casinos.
Oh,
There's
just
everybody
VIP.
feels special. It's all bright lights and fancy looking employees. And then there's the like private area where the millionaires like do high
Dude,
stakes
I want to
poker.
go there.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
You're not allowed. There's like a buy-in to the room. So,
Dude, Amor just had a great idea, actually. If the toilet could track fluid amounts, it could be handy for hospitals.
I thought
It's like,
that's
in
what it was
case
going to
you
say.
couldn't tell
I
from
thought
your
it was
own
going to be like,
experience, you're lacking fiber in your diet.
or it just like flushes it partially, scans it, and then flushes the rest away, and it's just like fiber, dude. Um,
yeah, flash of
Too much,
food,
too
like
little.
spinach on a screen in front of you.
yeah, and it's just like eat more of this. Let's see. Availability and pricing unknown. Yeah, I can guess it goes downhill from there. yeah. I can see a lot of these products making it easier for us when we're old and nobody is around to take care of us anymore. No, that's what,
As it is, though, that picture is underwhelming. It just looks like a toilet with a square lid.
it looks like a cheap toilet.
Cheap, cheap. What do you mean?
Like, I
White?
don't know. Well, that looks uncomfortable. Like the square front, your
Yeah.
legs on that square front, they like go to sleep. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
might. Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
it's like tilted up like church pews.
It looks uncomfortable. That's all I'm saying. All right. Here's the big kicker, right? And then we're moving on from CS. Flying cars. How long have people been complaining? Oh, where's the flying cars? 2018. We should be having flying cars. Here's a flying car. Intel CEO Brian, that guy, used his keynote to show off the Volocopter or Velocicopter, as I've been calling it for some reason. An autonomous passenger drone, which he called essentially
Hey,
a
we talked
flying
about this in
car.
like our first episode. Did you just say
It was
that?
different. That was it was a different company. It was a different kind of thing. It was automated, unmanned pilot thing. This kind of is as well, but you can also fly it.
Doesn't look like a car.
Velocicopter CEO, it functions like a car. Obviously, you can't just take a car and make it fly. There's not the ergonomics. There's the dynamics of it that makes it. You know what I mean.
You can't trust schmucks in the air. You can't trust the average person in the air, regular, and then add bad
The
weather.
average
to the mix.
person is not going to have a flying car.
Not for 30 years. What happens in 30 years?
Licenses.
We control
Well,
the weather.
hey, can you imagine when cars first came out and they're like, I don't want like grandmas driving these things on the road at 75 miles an hour, which was the speed
yeah,
limit
and
when
now
they
we
first
still
came
feel
out.
the same way. I don't want grandmas driving on the road.
So are you saying we shouldn't even have cars?
No, I'm saying grandmas shouldn't be driving cars. 65 should be the limit, and then you can't drive anymore.
Okay, I thought you meant speed limit. Okay, the Velocicopter CEO, Florian Reuter, said the flying drone is extremely simple to fly, quiet, and when running on its batteries, emission-free. And then you charge the battery and waste a lot of coal. The Velocicopter won't be available in the U.S. until it receives approval from the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. So, yeah. People have been bugging flying cars. There you go. There are some flying cars for you. So, so yeah, that was CES this year.
Da.
All right, Matt, I'm done with CES right now.
All right. So yesterday, something big kind of happened in a world that many of you don't follow.
I apologize to cut you off,
No, I was just getting started. That's fine. It wasn't
but the chat was commenting about the flying thing, and I just wanted to.
Velocopter.
Yeah, we keep like going back to subjects after we've left them because then we address the chat. Yeah, drone implies that you don't have to fly it. So no, it doesn't. That's like drones that you control yourself, like with the remotes. Joe has a drone. A lot of drones are manned. So
drone just means remote, right?
Drone just means that it hovers. Like it's like a helicopter. I don't know.
I feel like that's not right. I feel like drone means no onboard pilot. That feels like it would be more right.
No onboard pilot. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Because I know like people steer drones from the ground, but I don't know if you can fly it in it and call it a drone. Good question. Culture, life circumstances, belief, connection to ancestors. What?
Filial piety.
What on earth is she talking about? I missed something. Let's see. Asians live with their posterity when they get old. They have to. Oh, the fanciest toilets. Got it. Yes, the nation still believes in family and actual parents, and actually parent their children. Filial piety. Yeah, that.
Filial.
Drone means it obeys someone, not near it.
What do you guys call that stuff you get in your eyes, like right when you wake up? I always called it sleepy sand.
What?
Sleepy sand, like Mr. Sandman.
Who told you to call it that?
Family.
Like where? Oh, okay. You're like I always called it that. I like one day when I was just like, this is what I'll call it. I didn't know if people told you that.
So I want to hear what's that big thing that happened.
So yes, moving on from the chat.
All right. I want to make this like 10 minutes or less.
Good, because you got like 10 minutes or less left ish.
So the stock market is making record highs on the reg these days. The stock market faces competition from the bond market. The bond market is like, the reason it would pressure the stock market is that if you expect a certain amount of return in the stock market, you look at the bond market, because when you're running a business and you want people to invest in you, that you say, hey, buy part of my business and you might get a return. I might give you, the share price might go up and you can sell it, or I might give you dividends, but you're an owner. And the bond price, when a company wants to raise funds by borrowing money, is just like, nah, you get your money first. So whatever, you get your money before anybody, like when you loan money or when the bank loans money, that's the rate of interest that is the baseline for what investors expect in, for example, the stock market, because you pay the bank and then you pay the rest of your bills. Like if a company goes bankrupt, then you pay your creditors, who are your bond holders, and then whatever assets are left, you can sell them, I guess, when you go bankrupt, for returning it to the shareholders. The point is, bonds get paid before stocks. So people look at if bond yields go up, like I can get a 3% return per year, and then it goes up to 5% per year, the stock market has to compete with that. So it would hurt stocks if bonds yields go up. Bonds prices and bond yields are inversely correlated. So that's where the idea of easy credit comes from. So easy
sounds nice.
Easy sounds nice, right? Easy credit means you can get lots of money for low interest rates. And hopefully this is nothing new, but it was just a news story I read on that, like, I don't know, struck me as more important than maybe it actually is, but seems pertinent. And here it is. So there was a report on Bloomberg that on January 10th, so yesterday, said in the little clips they put on the top of their article, it said officials have recommended slowing or halting purchases. Speaking of the Minister of Finance for China, and China is the world's biggest foreign holder of U.S. Treasuries. So if there was a sell-off in the bonds, nobody wants them, prices go down, and they're inversely correlated, yields and prices. And if yields go up, you're making 3% per year, 3% per year in bonds this year, and then it goes up to 5%. If the stock market doesn't increase, like it has to face the pressure from that safer investment in bonds. And I already hit that at the beginning. But the point is, there was a rumor shook the bond market yesterday as China supposedly said, we're going to stop or slow down our rate of lending money to the United States. They're the biggest holder of foreign U.S. debt.
Oh.
And there was a sharp sell-off. People said, whoa, one of the biggest investors or lenders of money or buyers of bonds, a lot of these ideas kind of overlap, is, I don't know, dialing back their holdings. Why are they dialing back their holdings? I don't know. Maybe they know something that we don't know.
Kind of like the CEO of Intel selling $30 million worth of shares right before Spectre and Meltdown hit the market.
There you go. And Sears is having a lot of insider trading. That sounds illegal, right? Insider trading is illegal.
Wait,
is illegal.
Sears?
The Sears, yeah, they're cashing out a lot of their options.
I didn't know
because
they were still an option.
Sears is
I
closing
didn't
stores
either.
left and right. Stores is the sinking ship. What's stronger than sinking? Sears is. But I don't want to get off the bonds.
It's a burning ship.
Right.
Diving.
There you go.
Diving.
Diving. Yeah, it's a yeah. So okay. So the value of the dollar is strongly tied to people's expectations that the United States can make payments on its debt. So in 1973, the U.S. dollar index was started. So it's the value of the dollar relative to a basket of currencies, which consists of the euro, the Japanese yen, the Canadian dollar, the British pound, the Swedish krona, and the Swiss franc. So starting in 1973, it said, this amount of dollars can buy what this amount of krona can, what this amount of euros can, what this amount of yen can. And its highest point was 164 in February of 1985. So from 1973 to 1985, the dollar rose 64% in what it could buy. Its lowest was March of 2008 at 70, we'll call it 71%. The value of the index was 70. And right now it's at 91.7. So yesterday, this is all just okay. So yesterday, the U.S. dollar index went from 92.47 to 92.15. It lost 1/3%, which isn't that big, but it's big in the U.S. dollar index. Like the purchasing power of the dollar went down 1/3%. And then today it went down 1%. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal, right? 1%. If you had $1 million, you lost $10,000 worth of purchasing
That was
power.
quick math.
Today, right? And it might not seem too terrible, but it was just under 1%, and so I annualized it 316%. If what happened today in the value of the dollar's purchasing power happened every day, its annual loss of purchasing power would be 316%. And you're like, the United States can't do that because we're the strongest country, right? Well, maybe that's the case. Maybe we're the strongest country. I don't know. But I want to end it with this. In Venezuela, the inflation in 2015 was 181%. In 2016, the inflation was in 2015 it was 181. In 2016 it was 274%. In 2017, Venezuela incurred 4,115% inflation.
40 times.
Yeah. Yeah. So
What?
yeah, I don't it was interesting as I was researching for
So
this. It said,
something that was $10 is now costs $400
well, why not just stick with $1?
when it's inflated. No, I mean, just like something that costs $10 because $1, $40. Like, here, this is a $10 cheeseburger and fries. Just kidding. $400 for a cheeseburger and fries.
Is that not enough? And I wonder like
That's a lot. That's
Like,
a lot.
I wonder how wages adjust because in Zimbabwe, during periods of hyperinflation,
cost of living? Can I get an adjustment for cost of living?
Well, no,
Cost of living just went up.
that's no joke. That's for
Yeah.
real. People were in Zimbabwe during the hyperinflations. They were contracting to work for a period of hours. They would go to an employer and say, okay, I don't know what they do in Zimbabwe.
Nothing.
Pick coffee beans. I don't know what whatever. In Zimbabwe, they would contract. They'd be like, okay, I'll work for you for 4 hours for this much money, and then go buy groceries because grocery prices were rising so fast. Yeah, that was interesting. And
So,
I don't know if,
so it was a rumor.
but if China
It wasn't. It wasn't true. Right?
today, no, actually, yeah, that's a great thing you brought that up because that wasn't the end of the story. Today, the Minister of Finance for China said that was fake news. We don't know where that came from, but that was fake news. And then the bond markets recovered, the prices recovered, and people were like, "Oh, China doesn't want to get rid of all the U.S. debt because they still think that the United States can make its payments." Okay, well then we have regained some trust. But it's still down. It's still down from. I just dismissed it.
Maybe it's like a test, like a shark bump. You know what a shark bump is?
Oh, I was trial balloon or warning shot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where a
bump.
shark will bump into something to see how it reacts or responds to see if it's alive, and they should eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So a shark just kind of swims up and bumps its nose against it to try and see what it is. They were kind of like, next week they'll announce something else, like we're gonna kick out all the companies, or we're gonna stop making iPhones or something like that. Yeah, I don't think China. Well, China does make them because I ordered a custom iPhone or a custom iPod with an etching on the back, and it came from Shanghai. Yeah, shipped. Took forever to get here. But yeah, next they're gonna spread a rumor and be like,
Yeah.
we're gonna stop exports to America, and then see what it does and be like, just kidding.
Well, that's who would fill the gap. That's what this story brings up the question of. Oh wait, am I missing juicy stuff in the chat? Nah, probably not. China.
Word of the day was drone.
Drone. There you go.
Yeah. I brought it up on screen for a sec while you were talking. A remote-controlled, pilotless aircraft or missile. So, to settle that debate.
So birds are drones. They have a pilot.
They are a pilot.
Are they remote
aircraft?
controlled?
Okay. No. Oh, that's it. Sorry. Here's the cherry on top for real. I promise this time. The idea is, look at if this was. There's speculation out there that China did this on purpose, and it's not just a trial balloon, that it was a trial balloon, and that they just wanted to see. Okay, well, what if we did want to sell our U.S. Treasuries, the United States debt? What if we wanted to not buy any more debt? Like, they're a big bank essentially, and we're spending money by borrowing it. What would happen if we stopped getting the ability to... So they're the largest holder of United States Treasuries. They have $1.2 trillion in treasuries. And what if that just, dropped on the market? Like, here's $1.2 trillion worth of treasuries for sale. What price would that have to go to for them to be able to sell them all? Because not... Like, once a market price is established, it's, like a bond's $1,000. It's not like there's infinite people willing to buy it at $1,000. There might be like 10 people willing to buy it at $1,000, and 20 people willing to buy it at $990, 30 people willing to buy it at $980 to make it simple. But if they were to try to sell all their U.S. Treasuries, who would buy them? The Federal Reserve. They can create infinite money from nothing.
It's like the ultimate cheat code that like ruins games. It's just like,
Countries,
oh no, I
nations,
can't afford anything. Let me just give myself more money. I can build anything I want. As well as coffee. Zimbabwe exports beef and maize, which is corn.
Much of it? Probably. One of the biggest exporters in Africa.
Well, between 2000 and 2016, annual wheat production fell from 250,000 tons to 60,000 tons. Maize was reduced from 2 million tons to 500,000 tons. And cattle slaughtered for beef fell from 605,000 to 244,000. Coffee production, once a prized export commodity, came to a virtual halt after seizure or expropriation of white-owned coffee farms in 2000 and has never recovered. So they used to do coffee.
So only white people were drinking coffee, and then they took the coffee away from the white people, and everyone's like, we
No,
don't miss
making coffee. Coffee production. They used to make a lot of coffee, and then 2,000 coffee farms were expropriated It's the opposite of appropriated from white-owned coffee farms in 2000 and has never recovered.
Tragic.
So, yeah.
It's not a good place to live.
Interesting.
Mugabe.
So that's what they do in Zimbabwe. So so China has us by the gonads. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I really don't know. Like,
Financially,
if we have they have like a tenth of our national debt. Is that enough for it to make a huge effect?
who has
I
the
don't
rest
know.
of it?
They have a loud voice, though. I feel like.
Yeah, I think that Japan
I
more
think
has a
the
loud
Federal
voice.
Reserve has like 30% of it, and then Japan, China, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, or Great Britain. United Kingdom, Great Britain holds a lot of it. Yeah, I don't know. But what if people think we can't make our payments anymore, and then we say, no, don't worry, we can make all the payments necessary. We just need to create the money. Hang on a sec. Go behind the curtain, print up the money, and then everyone's like, hey, where'd you get those dollars from? Thanks for making the payment in full, but where'd you get that money? Oh, we
Found it.
yeah, it was under
I
the
found
couch
it on the
cushions.
floor at Walmart.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me. So that's not good. Hey, did you hear North Korea is sending people to South Korea for the Olympics
They're
next month?
talking to each other.
No,
Yeah,
they
that's
actually
good.
have said they're sending a delegation to the Olympics in South Korea.
I think they're going to fail miserably. North Korea, they probably have like the most
Oh,
undernourished.
I thought you meant like
the collaboration will be fine.
diplomacy-wise.
No, I mean North Korean athletes. How many people even have enough calories to, exercise regularly?
Well, it's going to be like the popular ones. It's going to be like the rich people.
Oh, yeah, that North Korean swimmer. What's his name? Or the basketball player.
Jing Jeezy.
Yeah, that's right. Wait for his new album. It's about to drop. Shing Easy.
All right, two things real quick before we close because it's on the hour. The NSA can see everything you do on the internet and everyone you talk to on your phone, but can they see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Good. Was that referenced on the show or before the show? It was on the show. I forget.
We mentioned it on this show.
We do so much like prep before the show, and I forget what gets said on air and what gets said off air. And then real quick, word of the day was drone. Let me let's go over some of the really fun definitions and synonyms for drone. So, noun, drone, plural, drones. A low continuous humming sound. We all know that. Monotonous speech. Someone drones on and on. A continuous musical note, typically of low pitch. It is true. A pedal tone in the bass that stays when the rest of the chord changes, called a drone. Musical instrument. Really? Or part of one, sounding a continuous note. Hey, like a bagpipe. Or a tube bag, as they're called. A male bee in a colony of bees, because they do all the work, which does no work, or not, but can fertilize a queen. That's a drone's job? I thought drones went out and pollinated things other than queens.
They pollinate something.
A person who does no useful work and lives off others. Here's a fun insult you can throw around. Hanger-on, parasite, leech, passenger, bottom feeder, more idler? What? Oh, wait, are these more? What's a more idler? Don't laugh at me. Loafer, layabout. A layabout. I like that. Good for nothing. A do-nothing. Lazy bones, scrounger, sponger, freeloader, and slacker. Drones supported by taxpayers' money. Nice. And, of course, a remote-controlled pilotless aircraft or missile. So, there you go. There's your word of the day. Took care of that for you. Sorry. Did you have one prepared?
No.
No, you didn't.
Drone. We were going
That's
to do
right.
drone.
Yeah. Of course we were, you layabout. All right. Let me just check the chat real quick. Drone metal gets so boring. Is drone metal a thing? Is there going to be a metal of the week this week? Last week it was Chinese metal? Haitian metal? What was the metal of last week? Japanese metal? Heavy metal. Chinese. Yeah, it was Chinese heavy metal because it was the...
Mongolian.
Ah, Yes, we did. Mongolian medal was actually where we landed on that. No pun intended. Talking about an aircraft falling to Earth. Yeah, to the tune of what? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like reading your message. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. They have the motivation. They'll be executed if they lose. Oh, that's sad. Probably true. Drone medal gets so boring. I mean, just look at China and how, like...
China.
Do you remember a couple of years ago when people were like, you have to be 16, I think it's 16. You have to be 16 to compete in the gymnastics. These girls are 11. They're like, no, they're 16.
Let me just check the public records.
Yeah. And, they're horribly malnourished and put through way too much training for a child of that age just so they can win gold medals at the Olympics.
Did they? Did they win gold medals?
Yeah, that was the problem. They kept winning, and they're like, it's not fair. These girls are like 20 pounds.
And they've had 6 years of training less than we have.
You know what I mean. All right. Chinese opera. Yeah, she said it last week. Chinese opera. All right. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to be lining up. We'll take suggestions. You can comment on the video, or you can @ me on Twitter. It's linked below. Our Facebook page, linked below. Let us know what you guys think we should do for our anniversary show. We'll probably ignore all your suggestions and just pick something anyway, but it will be nice to hear what you guys would like to see. That will be February 1st. We have a couple weeks. Stop laughing. We have a couple weeks before then. We are in the process of lining up some guests. We haven't had a guest in a while, an official guest. We've had some unofficial guests, some last-minute guests. All right, so we'll be setting that up. And next week, same time, I think Joe will still be at his satellite base out in the middle of wherever the heck he is, in the woods there.
He's not in the woods.
And yeah, same time, unless earlier. Maybe we'll go a little early. I don't know. We'll talk about it. If that happens, it won't be next week. But yeah, we've been considering a better time slot. I keep yawning through the show. I don't know why. I won't be asleep for like another 5 hours, so... thank you guys as always for tuning in. Go ahead and like this video if you like it. Subscribe, click the little bell so you know when we're live. It's always once a week, but you don't want to miss it. If you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and comment below. We will read those comments. We will respond. We appreciate all you guys who come to the show live and comment in the chat and keep the conversation interesting. Yeah, so see you guys next week.
I will. Maybe sooner. Toodles.
Joe. You gotta say goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe.
Cheeky.